Okay, so this, ladies and germs, this is our version of a cloud chamber. Okay, now cloud chambers are a lot more complex sometimes and not so complex at all at others. Okay, and it's very simple. It's just a plastic. It looks like a petri dish, only it's been painted black. Okay, and you're going to take this little piece of rock, and this little piece of rock is actually uranium ore. Okay, so it's radiating right now. There's radiation coming from this. But not to be afraid here, because there's radiation coming out of the lights above your head, out of the walls. There's radiation everywhere all the time. It's all about the amount. Okay, and there's not really enough in this lab for anything to hurt you. But you'll have a rock which will be sitting on the tray, and you're going to take that rock and you'll put it right in the center. Now, before you do that, you need to. There's some felt glued around the near the top of the edge of the cloud chamber, all the way around. And in this little dropper bottle is some ethanol. I don't know why it's so bright. There's some ethanol, okay? And what you want to do is to get this felt pretty well soaked with the ethanol, but not so soaked that the ethanol puddles at the bottom, okay? If it puddles at the bottom too much, it'll soak up and coat the rock, and you won't get very good results. The rock goes pretty much in the center, and the reason you put it in the center is the center is raised up just a little bit, so even if the ethanol puddles around the edges a little bit, it won't soak the rock. Plus, it's easier to see what's going on if you do. Okay? Now, then you're going to seal it up like this. You've got a top, okay, that just you put a top right on the top like that, and then in the cooler, back on the cart there in the center of the back of the room, there's blocks of dry ice. Now, if you've never worked with dry ice, just remember, don't handle it with your hands. Alright, so the rock is in the middle, ethanol is soaking the felt, and you're going to take the dry ice and put it on the lab table. Now, you can put it directly on the lab table, but it probably works better, I've found, if you put it on the tray that's on the lab table that I've got all this stuff sitting on. It just doesn't seem to move around as much, because what happens is that dry ice is sublimating even on the bottom, which means it's turning directly from a solid to a gas, and sometimes that gas will make that dry ice sort of vibrate, and it'll slide all around, and it just works out better on the tray. I think the tray is not quite as smooth as the lab table is, so it works out better that way. So you're sealing it up, you're putting it on the lab table, and what's happening is the ethanol is evaporating, and it's going to form a cloud of ethanol in there. Now, you can't see the ethanol cloud, but it's there. What you're going to do is take a flashlight, and you want to shine the flashlight at maybe about a 30-degree angle down inside. Okay? Like this is 90 degrees straight up. This would be 0 degrees straight from the side. And you want to kind of do up from the top just a little bit. Most of these have a little bit of an opening. You can do it from the side. You can try it different ways until you get the results you want. And what you're looking for are vapor trails. How many of you know what a vapor trail is? How about for a jet plane? You know what a vapor trail is for a jet plane? All right, when you see jet planes in the sky, what do you see? What will be in here? You're looking for vapor trails in here. All right? And they're hard to see. You have to be patient. You have to get your eyes adjusted to the darkness. Okay? And it takes at least 5 minutes for the vapor cloud to form inside of here once you put it on the dry ice. So you be patient and look for it. Okay? Now they look like those little vapor trails from a jet plane, only they last less than a second. Alright? So you have to watch carefully. And they don't even, from the rock that's in there, they won't even hit the side over here. They'll like disappear about 2/3 of the way or so. Maybe less than that sometimes. Okay? But they're there. But you got to be patient. You got to watch. You know, you got to be persistent in paying attention. Make sense? All right? And you have to work with the angle of the flashlight until it's the way you want to. Just keep working at it until it works for you. When you get to the back of the room and you get your apparatus set up, first thing you want to do is draw an illustration in your lab notebook of your apparatus. Okay? Everything you're working with in the lab is the apparatus. It's a word you probably need to know. What kind of hazards do you think would exist in a lab like this? What would you not want? Huh? Touching dry ice. There you go. Do not. Okay, that's a good one. What about the ethanol? There you go. So don't rub your eyes, and try to and especially don't let it get in your eyes, basically. Okay, yeah, because it'll sting. It probably wouldn't hurt you significantly, but just don't let it. Now, if you look really, really closely, the vapor trails resulting, what you're looking for are vapor trails because they're evidence of alpha particles, evidence of actual radiation. Okay, alpha radiation. So those vapor trails from alpha particles are kind of straight lines. All right, less than a second. Don't go very far. They're there and they're gone, but they're kind of a straight line. If you look really, really carefully and closely for long enough, you might occasionally see a spiral. If you see a spiral, that's something really special, because that's evidence of a beta particle. Okay? But what you're looking for primarily in this lab are evidence of alpha particles. Okay? But if you see a beta particle, make sure you record that. Now, once you get this set up on the dry ice, draw an illustration of the setup. Once you make your observations, not only describe the observation in your lab logbook, but draw an illustration of what you see. Okay? Got that? And there's a post-lab document for you to fill out or write your observations on your Google Docs folder. Okay? Or will be before the day's over.